No, it's not a big guess.
What? No. Test 1 2 3 4 5 5 4 3 2 1. Malt box room test 1 2 3 4 5 5 4 3 2 1. Thank you. Just so you know, we're going to have there's going to be like 3 people here, so I just don't want to get in the way.
Ya ahí se vio prendido. Ahí se ve prendido. Ya se ve prendido, ¿no?
Yeah, I have a brain. I mean, it's not working.
We didn't know. Church he comes in and then he sees 2 packs. It must be that.
I just got here 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, kind of. He didn't respond. I never got a response. I'll try to get it.
Yeah, reservation.
12 years of dealing with these guys. Okay.
Another mic check for everybody. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. You good?
What's your idea?
Let me know if there's something I so I own.
Do you get ideas? Like it's difficult to No, no. Yeah, I don't do that. Oh, you, all right, that's right.
Okay, if I can have everyone's attention, we'll be starting here in just 1 minute. Just so you know, we'll be starting here in a minute. DA Hestron will be speaking. There will be other people on the stage that he'll be introducing. Everybody ready? Okay. Possibly. We'll discuss that at the end. Okay. Thank you. Okay. You good? Okay.
Can I be right here? Is that okay?
Yes. Just know there's going to be people standing right
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Sir? Yes. You said Mike. H-E-S-T-R. He is the Riverside County DA.
Good morning. My name is Mike Hestron. I'm the Riverside County District Attorney. First, I want to announce the folks that are up here on stage with me. To my right, we have Riverside County Sheriff's Captain Deputy Ray Wood, Riverside County Sheriff's Captain Greg Fellows from the Paris Station, DA's Chief Investigator Joe Del Giudice. To my left, Chief Deputy District Attorney Vicki Hightower. She's in charge of our DA's Major Crimes Division. To her left, Managing Deputy District Attorney John Henry is the supervisor of the Special Victims Unit. And to his left, Director of our Victim Services, Melissa Donaldson. Thank you all for coming today. I'm here to announce that this morning the Riverside County District Attorney's Office filed criminal charges against David and Louise Turpin. You know that as the Paris child abuse case. What I would like to do today is first tell you what we've charged and the potential consequences of those charges, and then tell you a little bit about the why we charged the case and give you a snapshot of some of the evidence. Of course, I do want to tell you up front, and I'll probably mention it again, this is an ongoing investigation. We are at the beginning, not the end. We do have enough information to go forward and file charges, and that's what we'll be discussing today. The charges that we have filed are the following. We have filed 12 counts of violation of Penal Code Section 206 against both David and Louise Turpin. That is torture. We filed 1 count of a violation of Penal Code Section 288B1 against David Turpin, which is lewd act on a child by force or fear or duress. We've filed 7 counts of violation of Penal Code Section 368B1, which is abuse of a dependent adult. We filed 6 counts of 273AA, which is child abuse or neglect. We have filed 12 counts of false imprisonment. The date range of these charges, they range from 2010 to the present. And the physical location, of course, is in Riverside County, alleged to have occurred in Murrieta and also Paris. If convicted of these charges, if convicted of all of these charges as currently filed, these defendants are facing up to 94 years to life in prison. The case has been moved to Department 54 of the Riverside County Courthouse, and we will be asking for bail to be set as scheduled. What that means is the normal bail given what we have filed, and that will be our request that bail be set at $13 million per defendant. Now what I'll do is tell you a little bit about the why and give you some snapshot of the facts of this case. It is just that. It is just a snapshot. And I will afterwards, I will open it up for questions, and I'll do the best I can to answer your questions. But as you probably know, there is much we still don't know, and there are many things I can't answer. So, so these are the facts. First, a quick caveat. As I've said, it is an ongoing investigation. It is a detailed investigation. We're going to go about this the way we always do, meticulously and carefully. As we always say here at the office, it's more important that we get it right than it is to do it fast. We're fully prepared to seek justice in this case and do so in a way that protects these victims from further harm. So the brief overview, I'm providing a brief overview to you of the facts in the hope that anyone with additional information about these defendants, about these victims, about these crimes, will come forward and talk to the district attorney's office. These individuals, first what I want to tell you is these individuals sleep all day and are up all night. All 13 of the victims, including the defendants, typically go to sleep around 4 or 5 in the morning, sleep all day, and then be up all through the night. The victims report that as a punishment, starting many years ago, they began to be tied up. First with ropes. One victim at one point was tied up and hog-tied. And then when that victim was able to escape the ropes, these defendants eventually began using chains and padlocks to chain up the victims to their beds. These, as I said, these were a form of punishment meted out on these children and these adults. These punishments would last for weeks or even months at a time. The evidence is that 3 victims were chained up at the time the police first knocked on the door at the home in Paris. The defendants were able to get 2 of the victims unchained before the police actually entered. An 11 and 14-year-old were unchained as the police stood at the door, while a 22-year-old remained chained to a bed when the police entered the home. Circumstantial evidence in the house suggests that the victims were often not released from their chains to go to the bathroom. The 17-year-old victim that escaped had been working on a plan with her siblings to escape this abuse for more than 2 years. She escaped through a window and took one of her siblings with her. That sibling eventually turned back, became frightened and turned back, and went back into the house. The neglect and abuse started when the family lived in the Fort Worth area of Texas, with the parents at one point living apart from most of the children and dropping off food from time to time. The defendants lived in Texas for 17 years. In 2010, they moved to Murrieta, California, and in 2014 moved to their current residence in Paris, California, both, of course, in Riverside County. The abuse and severe neglect intensified over time and intensified as they moved to California. All the victims have now been examined by doctors and medical professionals. All the victims were and are severely malnourished. Specifically, severe caloric malnutrition associated with muscle wasting. To give you an example, one of the children at age 12 is the weight of an average 7-year-old. The 29-year-old female victim weighs 82 pounds. Several of the victims have cognitive impairment and neuropathy, which is nerve damage as a result of this extreme and prolonged physical abuse. None of the victims were allowed to shower more than once a year. I want to give you a quick example. One of the reasons for and this is all alleged conduct, I do want to mention that. One of the reasons for these punishments of being chained up to a bed were that, and by the way, the punishments included frequent beatings and even strangulation. One of the reasons for the punishments were if the children were found to wash their hands above the wrist area, they were accused of playing in the water, and they would be chained up. None of the victims have seen a doctor in more than 4 years. None of the victims have ever seen a dentist. The children were, when they were not chained up, locked in different rooms and fed very little on a schedule. They were not allowed to have toys, although there were many toys found in the house that were in their original package and had never been opened. Supposedly homeschooled, the children lack a basic knowledge of life. Many of the children didn't know what a police officer was. The 17-year-old, when asked if there was medication or pills in the home, didn't know what medication or pills were. About the only thing the children were allowed to do in their rooms or chained up was to write in journals. We now have recovered those journals, hundreds of them, and we are combing through them for evidence. One other thing, the parents would apparently buy food for themselves and not allow the children to eat it. They would buy food, including pies, apple pies, pumpkin pies, leave it on the counter, let the children look at it, but not eat the food. It's a very complex case. It's important that we gather and analyze this evidence. Based on the information I've shared with you today, it's my hope that members of the public will come forward with any information about this family or these crimes that could aid us in this ongoing investigation and case. If anyone out there has additional information, please call Senior Investigator Wade Walsvik at 951-955-5400, and I'll provide his email later. I do want to say a note of thanks to the Sheriff's Department. They've conducted a professional and excellent investigation, and we're working very closely with sheriff's investigators. I do also want to mention, before I open it up for questions, This case is going to be handled in a sensitive way. As I said, we're fully prepared to seek justice, but we have to do it in a way that protects these victims. They have been severely hurt and damaged, and we cannot cause them any further damage. At this time, I want to call up Melissa Donaldson. Melissa Donaldson is the director of our Victim Services Division. Just want to have her say a few words about our response, the district attorney's response from the victim side.
Good morning. Victim Services provide services to the victims of all crime types. In specific, these victims, there are so many that are minors and adults. We're going to be having 3 advocates that will be assisting and providing services to these children and adults. As Mike described, there are multiple issues with all these children, and they are going to take long-term help. Our victim advocates will go to court, they will work with CPS, and we will provide long-term and short-term services to make sure that they are not re-victimized and that we can help them move as far ahead on their health as we can. We also have a crisis response team that we've developed here in the DA's office, and those victim advocates are specially trained in mass casualty and victimization, and those staff are ready and serving the victims as well.
Okay, at this time, I'll take questions. Yes.
Can you explain what the lewd act is in reference to?
The lewd act is in reference to just that, a lewd act that we're alleging that David Turpin touched one of the victims in a lewd way by using force or fear.
Once
Are David
or
and
many
Bruce the
times?
biological parents of the 2-year-old?
I'd be speculating at this point. We are looking into all of those things, and that's part of the ongoing nature of the investigation.
Why did they do this?
Why did they do this?
Why did they do this? What did they get out of having their kids look really small and having the same haircuts and all that?
You know, I don't know that I can answer that completely, but I'll tell you that as a prosecutor, there are cases that stick with you, that haunt you, and you know, sometimes in this business we're faced with looking at human depravity, and that's what we're looking at here.
Family members say that they become increasingly religious over the years, and the religions become eclectic. Did religion have a role in whatever was going on? Some sort of religious rite or cult?
Not that I know of. Yes.
I think some of the children might have
Hold on. I'm gonna call out people.
At the time that were tortured and what you mentioned, no one came forward, no one noticed what was happening?
It appears that no one noticed what was happening. Part of that is what I shared with you at the very beginning, is that the family, these individuals, slept all day and were up in the middle of the night, all night. They were up all night, all of them, not just the parents. Yes?
Mike, how did this family earn income? Did they have money coming in, and how did they get that money?
Yes, we're looking at that. Not totally clear at this point, but we do know that David Turpin did have a job. He was employed. They did have money coming in. They were able to buy things. They bought a lot of toys that they never opened. They bought other things. They bought food that they ate and that didn't share with their children. Yes?
From talking to the neighbors, they say some of the older kids attended a local college. Is it your knowledge that some of the older kids were actually able to leave the house at some point in time?
Yes, so at least one of the older victims attended classes. I don't know about full college experience, but attended classes. What we know so far is that Louise Turpin would accompany him, wait outside of the classroom for him. When he was finished with class, she would take him home.
Sir, can I ask you,
yes.
Can you characterize the type of control these children and the young adults were under 24 hours?
This is severe, emotional, physical abuse. There's no way around that. This is depraved conduct. Yes, sir.
Yeah, can you address, you said that there's 12 counts against them for torture. Why not 13?
Because it's a good question. We are not charging torture on the 2-year-old. The 2-year-old, I don't know why, but apparently the 2-year-old was getting enough to eat, so we're not going to charge torture against the 2-year-old. The basis of our torture charge is not just one thing, but it's a combination of severe abuse over time. Yes, sir.
Can you please give us a rundown of the evidence that you were presenting to court?
No, I cannot do that, sorry. Yes, sir.
The situation with the kids, when they're able to leave a hospital, will they be put in the foster care system? Will they treat them differently? And can you describe right now primarily their mental condition as opposed to physical?
They're relieved, I will say that. They're in good hands. They're being cared for. They're all in the hospital. Their well-being is being looked at. Their health is being looked at. They're in good hands. As far as where they're going to end up, I don't know. We are going to do everything we can to assist them through our Victim Services Division, and hopefully they'll be cared for throughout this process. Yes, sir.
Just two questions, and you may have said the first one. Number one, how many times do they eat a day? And the second question, so much has been made to sort of herald the courage that it took this 17-year-old girl to get out. And you mentioned that some of the kids didn't even know what a police officer was. So can you elaborate on the 2-year plan that they were making to, clearly some of the kids must have known that you can get help, like had that kind of educational understanding?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, there's a variety, there's a range of thought here. So that's all I can share is that there was a plan for 2 years. As to the details of what went into the plan, at this point I don't know all the details, and that certainly will come out in court. Let me go down here. I've already, yes. Oh, we don't know. I don't know exactly how many times they ate a day. That'll come out later. Yes, sir.
Have you questioned them? Have they said something about why they did this?
I can't comment about that. Yes, sir.
What do you think the significance of the hundreds of journals the authorities have collected on them?
I think they will be very significant. I think those journals are going to be strong evidence of what occurred in that home. Yes.
Has there been a range of reaction for the kids? The older kids seemingly wanting to go back with their family versus the younger kids perhaps being more open to getting away from their family?
Not really, no. The kids are relieved, yes.
Mike?
I'm sorry.
You mentioned that the 17-year-old plotted the escape. Why do you think it was the 17-year-old and not the older kids who may have plotted to try to get away?
It's 13 kids versus 2 people.
Well, I don't know. I'd be speculating.
And would you say that they were brainwashed?
I don't know. I'd be speculating to answer that question like that. Let me go over here. Yes.
Mike, you mentioned there was another sibling that escaped initially with the 17-year-old.
Yes.
Can you elaborate more on that, the age of that sibling, and why she perhaps turned back?
She was frightened. That's all I can say. Is that there were 2 of them that left the house. 1 of them turned back because she was frightened.
And what was the age of the second sibling?
I'm not going to comment on that. Anything else? Yes.
Can you give the age of the lewd act victim and if it was just one instance?
Well, the charge is lewd act under a child 14 years of age. So it would be under 14 years of age. No, I'm not going to identify.
Can you give any reaction that the kids had?
No, other than I'm just going to tell you they're relieved. Yes.
The lewd act, sir, was this a one-time thing that you believe, or was it over the course of many years?
Right now, we are charging 1 count of lewd act. This is an ongoing investigation. I will tell you this, that if our investigation uncovers more crime, we will charge more offenses.
Sir, the lewd act was done to a female or a male?
It's to a female.
Is the mental capacity of the parents going to play a role in this? I mean, are they sort of bodily nuts?
I can't answer that question. Can't answer that question. Yes.
You wanted to protect the victims in this case. How are you going to try these defendants without having the victims testify against their parents, or is that part of your plan?
Well, I'm not going to comment on that. It's not, when I said I wanted to protect these victims, that doesn't mean they won't testify in court. It means that we want to protect them from being exploited. We want to protect them from being further traumatized by what they're going through now.
Sir, did
Yes. Go ahead.
I know it's difficult to quantify or measure extremes. I've heard a lot of abuse cases out here, as you know. Most of them turned out deadly. In terms of this particular case, was there any time, any point where any of these children or the adults were near death or came close to death, or the type of abuse that was allegedly inflicted, could that have been conducive to a condition where they would have died?
Not that I know of. I'm not to minimize it at all. The abuse was horrific and over time, but this is prolonged abuse. It did involve beatings and strangulation, so certainly there was violence in the home, but we're looking at kids being chained up to their beds. Yes, sir.
In their home in Texas, you mentioned that they would leave them for long periods of time and only come back to provide them food. Do they know where they went during that period of time, and how were they not able to escape at the time?
Did they actually live apart?
Yes, as far as we know, they lived apart for a time. That's one of the reasons why we're giving this information, this snapshot. We're asking for the public's help, not only here in California, but in Texas. Someone must have seen something. Someone must have noticed something. We need your help.
Sir, can you paint a picture of the mannerisms for us, their characteristics, how they speak, what it's like to see them?
No, I can't. I'm sorry. Yes.
Does it appear as if the younger children suffered more abuse, or as they got older, they suffered more? And also, when you speak to the $13 million bond that you're requesting, does that apply for $1 million per child?
Yes, it does.
And the first question, please, does it appear as if the victimization increased as they got younger, or decreased, or is there a range?
The way I can answer that is to say the victimization it appeared to intensify over time. So it was what started out as neglect became severe, pervasive, prolonged child abuse.
Do you believe these people should ever walk the streets again?
No.
Two questions. Do we know if the children were born in a hospital, at home?
We believe they were born in hospitals.
Second, on a personal level, when dealing with a horrendous case like this, how does your team, work through it without, I guess, mixing emotions and, with the law?
Well, I mean, we're not robots, and this is difficult for everybody that sees these images and hears these stories. So it breaks our heart, but we're professionals, and our goal here is to seek justice, protect the rights of the accused. That's another thing that we have to concern ourselves with, and protect these victims. But ultimately, our job is to go into court and seek justice, and we're going to do that. Yes?
At this point, you believe that all the children are their biological children?
At this point, yes.
And also, can you elaborate what they were writing in their journal?
No, I cannot. So I'm going to take only a few more questions because we could do this all day. Yes.
17-year-old tried to escape prior, or anybody else tried to escape?
Not that I know of.
Now, Mike, are you anticipating a
Go ahead.
defense? Are you pursuing any other defenses?
No, not at this time.
Anticipating a defense, they might say, well, this is our lifestyle, how we chose to raise our children. Was this even a close call at all? And secondly, up all night, sleep during the day, do you think that was intended to hide their secrets or what was going on?
Crimes like these happen behind closed doors, in dark rooms, and so, of course, people who commit these types of crimes have to hide their crimes, and I think that was part of it. Who haven't I called on yet? Yes.
At the moment, does it seem like they were equal partners in this, or are you looking at the possibility that one parent was the ringleader?
It's a good question. I can't answer it this time. Sorry. All right, guys. I'm going to take one more last question.
Did it get worse? You said that
Got worse over time.
But from the Murieta house to the parents' house, did it get demonstrably worse?
I believe so. Who haven't I called on? Yes, I haven't called on.
Your escape plan, was there a trigger that caused them to say now is the time to go?
Probably there was. At this time, we don't know exactly what that is.
But there wasn't something that they said they thought they were going to die or anything like that?
Not to my knowledge. Okay. Okay. The arraignment. Let me leave you with that. The arraignment today is at 1:30 in Department 54. I thank you all for coming. Thank you very much.